Hello and welcome to Biz 7. Please join me for a program in which we are going to discuss green hydrogen, retirement, and also a lot of extra news from the African continent. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much to FNB for this opportunity. Thank you so much to FNB. What an experience. I never got to do shopping in 5 minutes, but look at all this.
Before we start with discussions, etc., let's take a look at the top 5 business stories the past week in Africa.
Here's what's been making the business headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week. Zambia has clinched a deal to restructure more than $6 billion in debts owed to other governments, a French official said on Thursday. It is a long-awaited breakthrough for what was the first African country to default on its sovereign debt during the global health crisis. Zambia's private sector creditors are expected to follow the public sector example and also agree to reschedule the $6.8 billion owed to them. The announcement was made at a summit in Paris aimed at easing the debt burden of the world's most vulnerable countries, while freeing up billions of dollars for climate finance. At the event, a deal was struck for a coalition of countries to provide $2.7 billion for Senegal to increase its installed capacity of renewable energies to 40% by 2030, according to President Macky Sall.
We think that if this money is gathered, we will be able to reach or even surpass this objective.
One tool in focus at the summit was debt for nature swaps, which help countries reduce what they owe in exchange for climate commitments. The EU's lending arm, the European Investment Bank, is expecting to back its first debt for nature swap this year, with its director of lending estimating that there were 5 to 10 possibilities in sub-Saharan Africa alone. South African petrochemicals firm Sasol, the world's biggest producer of fuels and chemicals from coal and gas, is also making moves to combat climate change. On Wednesday, it said it had agreed to form a sustainable aviation fuel joint venture with Danish decarbonisation company Topsoe. SAF is made from non-petroleum materials such as agricultural waste and has similar properties to conventional jet fuel, but with a significantly lower carbon footprint. And finally, Kenya's parliament approved a contentious government finance bill late on Wednesday that will double the fuel tax and introduce a new housing levy. President William Ruto says a raft of tax hikes being pushed through as part of his maiden budget are necessary, but the opposition is threatening protests if they are signed into law.
A very heated debate has been sparked by government's announcement that it would purchase 24% of the interest or the shares or the stake in the green hydrogen project in Namibia. Now, in this week's Business 7, Namibia's Green Hydrogen Commissioner, James Nupe, he's also the presidential advisor, economic advisor, discusses government's point and motivates why they have taken this decision. Staying on the topic, Hyphen has just released a video to show how the construction activities at the Darius project or village are going ahead. Part of James Manupe, that is our green hydrogen commissioner, part of his argument for government buying a 24% equity stake in Hyphen is that it is extremely important that Namibia remains very competitive in this green hydrogen race. Now, South Africa, over the past week, also received significant investment in this area. This video by Reuters.
Currently on site we have 35 plus minus employees, and well, with the phases increasing, the employees will increase.
I'm currently a site admin here. It has get me off the street. I'm currently working. At least I am able to provide something for my family.
I started working here 2 weeks ago. It's a great opportunity to be here.
Ne tong uti hiya ko hai di chi om kaisi ti is ko ngrak na khading aroma ti sisen khasi ko hiya ne ha ko aroma ske ka ku sa kaisi ratanki.
Nexus is very excited to be part of this project. We think it's a really feasible project, and for the community and for the people, it's upliftment of the people in this area.
Every day, you make choices that make you legendary. Journey together with us on the path to securing your legacy as a member of the League of Legends. With the Select Platinum Bundle Fee Premium Bank offering, you will access tools that will enable you to thrive. If you earn 850,000 Namibian dollars per annum or more, you can apply for this offering today via bankvintage.com.na. for only 447 Namibian dollars per month. Bank Vintage, a member of Capricorn Group.
Do you have a fitness coach? If you do you have a financial planning coach? If you don't, then our next guest has a lot to say about the importance of that. We are joined in the studio by Bianca Schmidt. She is the head of financial planning consultants at Alexforbes. Proper financial planning is now more important than ever before. Joining us in the studio is Bianca Schmidt. She is the head of a financial planning consulting at Alexforbes. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much, Jo Marie. It is an honor and a privilege to be with you.
The honor and privilege is all ours. Bianca, to start off, what is the role of a financial planning consultant, and what value does it create for Alexforbes clients?
Good. To start off, our financial planning consultants, or FPCs as we refer to them, they actually take on the role as a financial coach, assisting clients with retirement planning, investment planning, and ultimately making sure the investments are invested in such a way that they reach the long-term income objectives.
Yes, and that exactly is what it's about. It's that long-term objective, because sooner or later we are all going to have to rely on that nest egg.
Exactly. You will have to create an income for you to look after yourself or pay yourself a salary for at least 25 to 30 years in retirement.
That really just
It's
scares
crucial.
me. and it's interesting, especially post-COVID, etc. Life coaches and coaches on all spheres of life, they've become the buzzword, they've become so important, and that's why I love the fact that you're referring to financial planning coaches, because that's exactly what you are.
That is exactly what it is. And when you join or partner with a financial coach, the financial coach can now assist the member or the client in identifying their risks and exposures in all areas of your holistic financial plan.
Yes.
And by identifying your risks, your shortfalls, the coach can also assist you with a solid advice and solutions specific to your need and your circumstances.
You know exactly what you're talking about. You're an expert, so I'm going to shoot from the hip here. A lot of people, especially once they in their 40s or, and they realize, oh dear, I've let this slip. They're embarrassed to approach a financial coach and say, they're ashamed. How does one overcome that?
We always say or encourage clients, it's actually never too late to start planning. So take the first step and be an active participant in your financial planning, whether it's very early in life or whether it's 5 years to retirement. Somehow you can take the bold step. It's never too late, and we are ready to assist you in identifying your shortfalls and also implementation plans on how to reach those goals still in time.
When do you have the first available spot for me? Coming to a more generic question, what should a client, you refer to them as clients, but what should people look for in a financial planning consultant or coach?
Number one, and I would say that is the primary key point, is experience, industry experience in the field of holistic financial planning. That is absolutely non-negotiable. And when I talk about holistic financial planning, I talk about all the areas of your financial plan, which include pre-retirement planning, post-retirement planning, estate planning, your investment planning, risk assurances. So you can see it's really a minefield of decisions that you have to make. So that is critical, non-negotiable, to partner up with someone that has adequate experience. With that, you should expect advice suitable to your need. A one-size-fits-all approach in the financial planning industry is not effective. And the only way you will determine your specific need is through a detailed or comprehensive needs analysis. So I'm using a lot of technical words today, but these are the key points that you should be on the lookout for. So your financial coach should be able to do a comprehensive needs analysis, identify your needs, your shortfalls, and with that, you should expect a comprehensive report that actually summarizes your solutions with your estimate implementation timeframes, or planning some form of plan on how to reach these goals. So these are the key points. And then the last one is trust. I mean, that comes from the guts.
Yes.
So if you are not comfortable, really, it's your money, it's your life, your well-being, then you seek for a second opinion.
You refer to two interesting things that I'd quickly like to touch on. Very technical terms, because it is a very technical field. And if there weren't any technical terms, I think I would be worried because you might not know what you talk about. But once you get this report, etc., a proper financial consultant would be able to have a discussion with you and break that down in layman's terms so that you could understand.
Absolutely. We should talk and speak the language of an ordinary level. If we look at financial literacy levels, you should be able to understand what we refer to. So yes, when we deal with clients or when we consult with clients, we normally use more the layman's terms and not really the technical terms.
The other one was that the word experience crops up a lot. What are the parameters or the requirements of a financial planner to be regarded as experienced?
I've mentioned the criteria is in industry-related experience. On the job, I'm not referring to qualifications as such, but I think on-the-job experience, in the field experience is very important. I mean, you can be an excellent coach in short-term insurance, but you are not necessarily a specialist in retirement planning. So that's why I always refer to a holistic, the broader aspects of financial planning.
Yes, it's very much like athletics. You might be able, you might be a wonderful coach over a short distance, but when it comes to a marathon, you'd probably fall short.
Yes, and we have clients that prefers to deal with different financial coaches. So we will be the coach assisting the client with pre and post-retirement planning, and he will have a different coach assisting with short-term insurance and also risk assurance. So yeah, it's sometimes to your benefit.
So if I choose Alexforbes as my trusted partner in this journey towards retirement, you guarantee that all your financial planners and coaches are fully experienced?
Fully experienced and also accredited and registered with NAMFISA. That is also a key point to look out because if you are accredited with a variety or the major insurers in Namibia, that means that you have obtained the necessary training and you have the necessary product and knowledge to assist your client with solutions.
Yeah, and NAMFISA, of course, in basic terms, just the regulatory watchdog over financial institutions or non-banking institutions, for that matter.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alexforbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
What's the latest at a Tricon Metals Combat mine in Namibia? Now, the president and CEO of the company released this video.
Greetings, Trigon shareholders and other interested parties, other stakeholders. Over the past week or so, I've received a few questions about operating costs. What are the actual operating costs of operating our open pit? If you look back at what we've been saying back to June, July of last year when we first paused for the restart that we're in the midst of right now, we were targeting average grade of 1.2% copper, which we've been able to achieve, and operating costs of around $2.85 per pound of copper. And And I'm pleased to report that that is actually still what we're expecting. So exactly $2.83 open pit alone as we start up this fall. Currently in the ramp up phase, we look to be starting the mill in late July and shipping our first concentrates in August, with October being the first full month of mill operation and concentrate shipment. For the rest of our fiscal year, so October through to March of next year, we expect open pit operating costs of $2.83 per pound of copper. When we look at all of our operations, right now we are actually up to 362 people on site working. So that includes, of course, the mining, which is happening with our contractor, Talela Mining in Namibia. But we're also doing the prep work as we start up the mill, and there's a full complement of staff there. And we're prepping for the underground. In fact, we've been moving in heavy equipment for backup power. We'll be moving in pumps in the coming weeks. And a lot of work is already going into the underground mining in preparation for next year. As it stands right now, we have a large G&A expense for all of that staff. It's spread out over right now a smaller amount of production because we just have the open pit running this year and only for part of the year. But long term, we're still looking at a blended operating cost of sub $2 for this as open pit and underground once we get Access Far West running. And we're doing both stages of the underground with some contribution from the open pit. So very good looking operating cost wise. We're now sitting at over $3.80 per pound of copper as copper seems to be starting to recover and putting us in a good position to really start generating some cash flow in the coming months. There'll be lots more updates as we're working right now. Do stay tuned for updates in Morocco. We're seeing some progress there. And as that comes into reality, there'll be announcements to make and really show the additional opportunities to grow here at Trigon Metals.
Nigeria's new president, Bola Tinubu, has unleashed a raft of reforms. But how is this going to impact, and can he save the very sluggish economy of Nigeria? Reuters filed this video.
Nigeria's new president, Bola Tinubu, has had a busy first month in office. He's implemented a raft of radical changes aimed at unleashing the full potential of Africa's sluggish economic giant. That race to reform has wowed investors. But some analysts, observers, and business leaders warn that bigger hurdles lie ahead. Days after his inauguration, Tinubu scrapped a popular, decades-old fuel subsidy. He then quickly suspended the central bank governor and freed up the exchange rate. These reforms should have long-term payoffs. The World Bank said on Tuesday that the forex and petrol subsidy reforms could save Nigeria 3.9 trillion naira, or $5.1 billion this year alone. However, it also warned of growing inflationary pressures in the short term. Petrol prices have nearly tripled since the end of the fuel subsidy. That's in a country where millions rely on petrol-powered generators. A resulting naira devaluation from forex reforms could accelerate inflation. Meanwhile, Nigeria faces record debt. Unemployment is high, power shortages have contributed to years of anemic growth. Oil output is also shrinking and insecurity is high. Observers say tackling these problems is made harder by rampant corruption and entrenched patronage networks. Bismarck Rawane is CEO at Lagos-based financial derivatives company.
Path to political power in Nigeria over time has always been through this vested interest. And when you deny them of their source of livelihood, then they will fight back.
That could create a challenge when tackling, for example, insecurity. The military has its own entrenched patronage system. Political analysts say armed groups in the Delta involved in industrial-scale oil theft operate with support from some politicians. Tinubu will be judged on how he tackles such networks, but he also largely owes his own election victory to the deeply political, religious and tribal networks of his own party. They will have their own interests. Observers worry Tinubu will be beholden to such forces. He has suspended the head of the Financial and Economic Crimes Agency, but not yet outlined an anti-corruption plan. Nnamdi Obasi, senior Nigeria advisor for the International Crisis Group think tank, said Tinubu has never been known to be a great fighter of corruption, and that his body language doesn't suggest anything radical will be done.
Nestlé is ramping up the sourcing of raw materials in various African countries. This is in an effort to curb foreign exchange exposure. Reuters has this report, and with that, it's the end of Business 7 for next week. Take care until we see you again.
Nestlé's businesses in Nigeria and other African countries are ramping up their sourcing of local raw materials. This includes ingredients like starch and turmeric. The move is meant to reduce foreign exchange exposure, a cause of concern for the sector. Due to the health crisis and subsequent supply chain issues, consumer goods companies have increased efforts to bring production and sourcing close to their markets. And growing debt in many African countries has put pressure on foreign reserves and created currency volatility, making it harder and more expensive to import inputs. Just last week, for instance, Nigeria's central bank allowed the naira currency to drop as much as 36% on the official market. Now the food giant, which has more than 2,000 brands including Kit Kat and Nescafe, is replacing imported cornstarch in Nigeria with cassava starch. It's also developing local suppliers of vegetable and spices for some products. And it's told Reuters it has already helped 7 local suppliers to boost capacity to meet their supply needs. In a statement, the Swiss company said it is currently looking to expand its localisation journey to Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon and Senegal. Rival Unilever told Reuters last month that foreign exchange worries were also a big factor in driving it to seek more produce from Africa.